G-Fest is an annual convention held in Chicago, Illinois dedicated to all things kaiju, but mostly that lovable oaf Godzilla. Me and a couple friends went for the first time in 2024 to G-Fest 29, and here's what I thought. We drove into Chicago on Sunday morning, the last day of the con. Though I would have liked to have gone an earlier day, the costume parade and movie screenings take place earlier in the weekend. We had to go that day because we had to film the short film contest that took place on Sunday. After grabbing lunch at Shaq's restaurant Big Chicken, thanks Mr. O'Neill, we got to the hotel for the convention. We had a little bit of time to kill before the short film, so we swung by the game room, art rooms, and Kaiju Island, which is the smaller vendor area room. Being used to much larger conventions like Gen Con and my local Comic Cons, I was surprised at how small G-Fest was. It was kind of nice to be able to see basically everything available to us in one day and to have it not be overcrowded as some larger conventions can get. There were some time-sensitive events like panels and celebrity meet and greets that we had to forego for our main event of the short films, but we were able to get to all the standards and see all the rooms.
Are you kidding? I mean, yeah, but I guess well, no, I don't want to take up too much time.
Now I gotta say, I've taken part in dozens of film contests over the years, and this block of films has to be the best group I've ever had to sit through for one of them. Something about the tone of this convention and the films submitted felt so much more genuine and earnest than a lot of other film contests I've been a part of. Plus, most of them were just about some big monsters beating each other up, and if you're at G-Fest, what else could you ask for? I stumbled upon the convention a few months prior after watching Godzilla Minus One and saw that they had a film contest, and I'd never made this type of movie before, so I was interested in the challenge, and I decided to enter it, and I actually had the most fun I've had making a short film in a while. I think ours played okay, though the sound was extremely loud for all the movies, so it was hard to hear reactions. But that's not my fault. It sounds fine on my computer. Though we didn't win anything, I'm extremely happy with what we came up with and hope to submit more in the future. After the film contest, all that was left for us to do was Kaiju World, the main vendor hall, which seemed to be the main attraction of the whole convention. I suppose vendor halls are usually the main draw or one of the main draws for conventions, but for me personally, they always feel like a side thing. This one really felt like the major focus here, maybe more so than other conventions that I've been to as far as I know. I'd also never been to a convention so specifically about one thing, and it's crazy to me seeing all the different variations of the same few monsters that people have. My opinion may be somewhat colored by me never having the money or interest to spend a lot of money on most things in vendor halls. It blows my mind how expensive some of these items are, but even more so how many people buy them. How do all these people have all this money to spend on this stuff? And can they please float some my way? It'd be for a good cause, and that cause is let me buy more useless crap. That said, I did get some useless crap because, I had to represent the boy. I didn't have barely any Godzilla merch, despite, loving him, so, I grabbed a couple things. Also, I got a Megalon pin, because Megalon's my dude, gotta get the dude, too. Look, I didn't say you can't spend your money on all this junk, I'm just saying, how can people do that? How do people have the money for this? And this isn't nearly as bad as Gen Con, I'll get to that in a later video. Stopped at Portillo's on the way home, which was also pretty good. I don't know who runs that chain, so I'm just gonna thank Shaq again. Thanks. All in all, a fun convention. I'm planning on going to the next G-Fest, maybe on another day to check out some of those other events we missed. Tickets are reasonable for what it is. I wouldn't recommend this to the casual kaiju or Godzilla fan, as it is really solely just about that. You gotta be pretty into monsters smacking each other around to make this worth the trip. There's a bit of clunkiness to how the convention is run, which I mostly noticed during the short films and the awards for it. But again, I may just be used to larger, more, professional, organized cons. This is volunteer run too, so I'll cut them a little slack. There's also a bit of charm to the amateur nature of it all. much like, you know, the charm found in the Godzilla franchise. Look, I kind of brought it around to a nice fine point. Anyway, that's what I thought about G-Fest 29.